All right, folks, Simon here. This is the 2022 TAC Championship. This is the finals match between alion02 and Ali. This is game two. You're seeing right here the results of game one, where Ali won with a road, but alion02 was very low on time. It was a very tense match there where Ali dominated most of the game. But we're about to see Ali play as black and alion02 play as white here in this game two of this 6 game match. So definitely no one is out of this tournament quite yet. They have plenty of games to play. So we're about to jump into this. Again, all these games in this tournament are played with a 6x6 board with 15 minutes on the clock and a 15-second increment. And 2 komi, meaning 2 gets added to black's flat count score at the end of the game if the game does not end in a road. Now, this is the finals. The winner of the whole match, the 6 game match, does get crowned the TAC champion. And neither of these have been the champion before, so this is a new champion we're gonna have here. And yeah, it's pretty good. We saw some amazing play last game, and I imagine we're gonna see some amazing play coming up here. And I do have joining me in the commentary booth, I have PlutoTheBrave.
Hi, yeah, I'm excited to see the second game, see how Alien bounces back from a kind of crushing defeat.
It was pretty crushing. I will admit that was pretty brutal. But yeah, we're about to see some awesome games, and I can't wait. So let's jump right into game two. Now we're not gonna see the hug opening most likely here because that is not Ali's style. We're probably gonna see an adjacent corner, maybe an opposite corner here. We'll see what he decides to play. We see the A1 drop, and Ali goes for opposite corners, and then Alian goes straight for the Knight's opening.
Okay,
Interesting
so I think we're in
defense.
a bit more of Alien's comfort zone here. It looks like they've got two parallel kind of threats here, and then Ali puts the capstone just to block, or in preparation for blocking with
Yeah, I was gonna say I really didn't like
F4.
what Ali was doing there, playing those black flats away from where White's going for. It was making me a little nervous that he was gonna get caught out in something bad. But that capstone really does help. Honestly, I was surprised that alion02 didn't drop a capstone at D4
Yeah,
because that has been a move I think that we've seen in a recent tournament game as well. Maybe by him, maybe by his opponent or something like that. I can't remember. Probably in the Abyss and alion02 matches. Um, but that would have been really strong and basically eliminated Black's ability to do that. Getting that first capstone out there is very powerful. And so White being able to put out a capstone first is sometimes really great because it really fortifies that position. Black building over here at E3, I really like that because he knows that when he captures up, White's going to do something like maybe fill in with a capstone at D3. And playing at
yeah.
E3, I think, sort of helps his position a lot more, makes him go for that vertical line uh, instead of just abandoning his whole position. So that I think that's good.
It means that the defensive move he knows he's going to be forced to make is also an offensive move because he's kind of adapted his threat.
Exactly.
And now we do see the D3 cap.
As expected there. Now, as black, do you go for an E1 or an F2, or do you play above maybe an E5 or F3 to sort of stop white from building at F3?
Well, mm, It's interesting because you can definitely see white bringing e4 down in future move. So I think f3 is a good counter to that because you can just play e4 afterwards
Hmm.
to resume the threat. I think that's a good move. But I think from now on, Ali maybe wants to be playing more e5 or e1 and more certain in the vertical. Or in
Hmm.
fact, just do the horizontal threat, really.
Yeah,
It's
because
got the best of both worlds.
the F3 placement also helps that horizontal line in addition to really breaking up White's threats. So I think that's not a bad play at all. White now making the anchor point at A4, really trying to pin Black's capstone, which I find fascinating. Maybe he's just salty about previous game where his capstone was stuck for the whole game and wants to make that happen for Ali.
Well, I think White wants to get c3 or go around the other way, but
Hmm.
c3 and then move down e4 to e3, and then you've got a threat there,
Yeah.
which Ali just does not allow, I guess.
Not letting that happen. He is not interested.
Now,
Now,
does White play d5?
C5. I can see C5, yeah. Because if he wants to
Yeah.
eventually shift it into a vertical, he knows he can smash that wall with D3. And then that
And
so if black were to block on C5 after playing at D5, then that kind of ruins that vertical line.
yeah.
So yeah, C5 makes sense here. But I'm wondering,
And
so white has a road in two moves. So he's got momentum here. Black's got a setup for a road in three moves. But black can cut this one off with that wall pretty easily. Goes for the placement
White
of
goes to
d5.
d6 here, I think.
Yeah, d6 makes a lot of sense for white. Yeah, alion02 is going to push this horizontal line at the top of the board really, really hard. Even though white's capstone is away from that threat, still able to push that really hard just because of the surrounding position that he's got. With that f6 flat, really helps him go around the black threat there. Yeah, so now white can make a threat by placing at e6 or at e5 or at c6. And so black doesn't really have an option to place and stop this from happening. It's going to happen on the next turn no matter what he does basically, unless he captures.
So does black play e6 to keep the vertical threat alive, welcome the e5 from white, and then move the wall up? Is my question.
That might be it. I mean, if he does the e5, black may decide to just bring d5 right. Probably not,
Yeah,
but you know.
I mean, I think it's a valid. Eh, maybe it lets white's cap too much back in.
Yeah.
So we do see that play out at least to that extent.
Yeah, so here's the tag threat from white being able to capture down with d6.
Now, does black move the cap or does black move the wall?
Goes
Or
for
does
the
black
flat.
move the flat?
Just like I said. I didn't think he would do that, but he's doing it. Now, white, I think white should play at d5 here.
Or c6? I guess no, d5 is.
Yeah, d5 feels
Uh,
way better. So d5 happens, then if black plays below at like e1, you capture with f6 left onto e6, and now you've got that
yeah,
that tack threat. Yeah,
yeah.
that feels really strong. d5 feels really strong for white here. Interestingly, we haven't had any chatter on this game in the playtech chat. We had a lot of messages in game one. Nobody said a thing for game two. Okay, so white does play at d5 here. Now for black, you probably don't want to make the e1 play. You might want to just capture with the capstone on e4.
Yeah, that was my instinct there. Capture the cap, and then force white to make a capture across the top, and then maybe drop a wall at like f6.
I mean, white could also just capture onto e3 to stop it with the capstone.
White can also just capture onto e3. Yeah, that is equally valid. Yeah, black can try to build around that, but doesn't really work.
Yeah, black's in a tough spot right here.
Yeah, no, it's hard to see. I mean, black still does have the horizontal potential. Okay, so the cap does move across.
Now, this is a threat. Will white take d3 right to cut that off? Will he take this capstone, bring it over to cut it off,
I think the
or
cap is.
will he
I think
capture above?
sorry. I think the cap is the better move here. I as much as it's appealing to keep on going with the threat, I think a wall is just to punish destroys the whole thing.
I mean, you can't wall as white here because it's attack threat.
No, I mean if you move as if you
Oh, okay.
take flat capture, then you can just wall.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean it might not be as devastating as I think it is because white can then go play like c2 or something. Uh, but okay, so
Capture
Alien
at the
does go with
top.
that. And I guess if you do wall at f6 and then you move on to then you play at c2, uh no, the wall can still has time to come across.
I mean, could black just flat at f6 here? Going for the wall instead. Much safer.
Well, yeah, because if you flat at f6, white flats at f5, you capture on f6 just on the attack threat.
Yeah, then that's bad.
Yeah.
Then you would have to use that c3 wall to stop things.
Yep.
Yeah, black's in trouble here. We are seeing a very similar sort of game play out that we saw in the previous game. White just really, really pushing, which is interesting because in the most recent tournament games we watched, they were between alion02 and Abyss, and they played they played five total games because they split their four-game match and they had to go into a tiebreaker. And in every single one of those games, black won. And so we've seen white win game one, and now white is really pushing hard in game two. Sure, it's very early, it's only turn 13. But if we see an opposite trend here where we start to see white winning games, That is interesting. Definitely
But I
a
feel
play
like,
style change.
yeah. But I feel like no matter what, though, the wall on f6 moves to e6, and it shuts down a lot of what white is trying to do.
That's true. This wall at f6 now is really devastating for white, but white needs to probably shift gears now and start going for the vertical, maybe play it at c2 or b2 or
Oh,
b3, and
b2.
they do play b2.
Okay. Now, do you play it b3 here as black and just kind of make sure you've got a bit of influence in there,
I think
and then
b1
wait and or b1, even that's a good option as well.
because b1 is working towards your own horizontal at the bottom.
Yeah, b1 is better. And then white plays c1, and then I think you move the wall across f6 to e6. I mean, I guess the problem with that is that then white gets c2, and then your horizontal is dead. Okay. What does white want to do here? I still like getting c2.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I guess the thing is, no matter what the wall move has done, what that c3 plus has done, is meant that no matter what white does, black places e1 the next turn, and then white makes a threat or whatever. Oh, white. No, never mind. It doesn't change anything. Nope. Nope. Okay. Ignore me.
um, yeah, white continuing to play for that vertical. Black playing at c2 seems likely.
I think black plays at c2.
Mm. Now I like the eventuality of black being able to play at d1 here to stop something. Black may decide to play at d1 right now. Ooh, the wall. But
What's a
now
black counter
white
on?
just plays at a5, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So it's black has 9 flats to white's 10, and that's with komi included. So white's up on flats and black's dropping walls still.
But black still has the captive on e6 to liberate.
That's true. That is true. That will eventually be a
Yeah,
+2 move, but yeah, now that he's played at b5, I feel like white's got to play at a5, right?
yeah, yeah, no, what are white's options?
I mean, white also
Or
has those
d4.
d4 and c3. D4 and c3 are really strong here for white too, because it connects white's capstone to those threats.
Okay. So we do see. And then b6, c4. No, as in like b6. Huh.
So if
b6, a6 minus.
white plays b6, and then what if black plays d1 at that? So white plays b6. If black plays
Okay.
d1, white
And
captures left with b6.
well, white plays c2. Doesn't capture left with b6.
Yeah. Then black captures left with d1 and makes their own tack threat at the bottom.
Yeah. Uh, White plays d1. And then it gets a little bit messy, but I think you can move the cap. You can get the cap back into the action.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm just looking for an opportunity for black to be able to play at d1 to counter white's threats, and then also make the f6 left move to make it a
No,
threat.
that's fair. Yeah. Okay, we see a5 minus.
That's a smart move. That's a smart play right there.
Yeah.
I
And
like that
then I
play.
think. Oh, does white play c2?
Mm, c3 also works. So does d4. Goes for the c2.
I think c2 was important because it means that black's threat is less obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Because if black gets c2, then uh, I guess you play a2 then. But anyway, that's a bit more connection, I think.
Okay, black does play the d1. White can make a threat here on this turn by playing at either c3 or d4, and black can't stop either of those threats with the f6 left move. So
Goes with
red is
d4.
made.
d1 a left, and then d1 reduce the threat, and then d2 minus.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know the way out here.
This is when I get my pen out.
Ooh,
Or you do the
capstone comes
cap.
left. Does white play a wall or a flat at e4 now?
White just fills in at e4, I think. I don't think white wants to lose any flat
Yeah.
count differential.
White's trying to push for this flat win right now.
Yeah, I think I think it's really quite tight because of the wall's potential there. So I think white really wants to just fill in.
Plays at e1 instead.
Ooh, I like that. I like that actually. I really like that.
Going for that horizontal at the bottom.
Yeah, the cap finally getting to the action. And no matter if black plays at f1 or f2, white plays the other, and then next turn moves the cap down and has a solid threat. Either of the walls can try and move down, but white can just play at a2.
Yeah, black's in trouble and has been for basically this whole game. Some solid play from these guys.
There is still only a difference of 2 between them, though. So black, the position is dire for black, but if black can kind of hold on and fight this threat without losing any flat count differential or minimizing, then I think Ali's still got a chance. It's not as cut and dry as it was in the last match, but it's still pretty white favoring.
Yeah, because I think we're seeing it's 11 to 13 in flats with white in the lead.
Okay,
All right, so
that makes
now
sense.
it's 11 to 12 flats.
And that's good as well because it also protects the uh, E5 liability.
Yeah,
See a line set up for the threat.
back to 11 to 13.
How does Ali prepare for this?
That's a good question. He just goes for it.
He doesn't. So White's cap, that's attack threat. So White's cap moves down.
Do you want to write?
D1 right, and then the cap moves right with it and has a liability.
Yep.
And not has a captive even.
Mm-hmm. Can recover that. Coming down onto E1. And coming down onto E1 also makes attack threat.
Yeah. And so no matter what, White could just get more flat count differential even. Just improve the position.
Now, do you make it worse and capture over onto F1?
Oh, maybe.
No, D2 I
No.
felt like was the smarter play. It's what I thought of first. But capturing onto F1 would have been potentially really awful for black, but also
No,
potentially good for white, depending on what white did.
I prefer capturing down here as a capturing down from E2 rather than placing.
I kind of like the placement because you don't want black to drop a
Uh,
wall there.
well, you don't care because then you spread up.
Nah, that's true.
So then you have better flat count. So you're actually winning on flat count. And black has just destroyed their only threat with the wall if they wall D1.
Black does also have those walls up there at B5 and C4 that I think they can bring to bear on this horizontal threat of whites.
Okay, so we do see the flat.
Brings it down.
A2 or A3.
I feel like A3 makes a lot of sense. Because A2 you could capture up with A1, but A3 you can't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but then you just capture down the wall. So lets the wall get back in. And now I think the cap down is worse than it was, in my opinion.
Yeah. A3. And if black continues to build flats underneath that B4 wall and eventually makes it to B2, white could toss the cap over if they wanted to. Probably wouldn't want to. Probably would just want to keep placing flats.
Okay, so we see B1 plus. And now white's cap goes down.
That's smart.
And you can't, yep, and you can't wall E2. You have to try and defend from the road. So probably the B4 wall going down, yeah.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, this looks really bad for black. I just don't
Yeah.
see a way out.
Do you spread up immediately or yep?
Now he's threatening that stack on B3.
But white is also
Just way ahead on
if
flat
white
still.
places like yeah, if white places like B5, F5, white can throw the cap to E5,
Yeah.
and that's a threat, and then can recapture.
Yeah, this just looks really, really strong for
Okay,
white.
that's black's only positive move.
Yep. Yeah, I feel like this game is basically over.
So white has 11, black has 10. White has 12, black has 10. Black has no threats. White has a cap near to all of black's threats. White has less flats. White is winning.
Yeah, white just like Ali is capable of some pretty crazy moves and stuff, and I've seen him make some amazing plays. So, yes, it's possible that he comes out on top of this, but it's very slim. I think here Black wants to play at B1, and he does do that. This is
So
helping to cut off White's horizontal here at the bottom, but also what
yeah,
it's
I
doing
think
is it's
white
building
plays it.
towards Black's vertical that they're going for from E6 down to B1. Yes, that is remote, but it's basically the only thing he can go for at this point, so he might as well go for it.
Yeah, so I think white plays at E D3 here. Just to take out the threat really. And to flat more.
So it is important to note that at this point, because of that B1 placement, White cannot spread left to smash on B3.
But I don't think white ever wanted to smash on
Probably not,
B3.
but he can't do it. It's no longer possible. So
It is no longer possible.
yeah,
I think F2 here to make sure that black can't like if black places F2, then black goes C3 minus. Black could theoretically make a hard cap, but okay, so white's gone for B5 instead, which is fair enough.
yeah. Then it's gonna be either B4 or A6, then F5.
Yeah,
Make that threat
black is
while
dead
just
in the
placing
water.
flats, placing, pushing for that flat win. It seems inevitable at this point.
Yeah. I still do think black is for F2 here though.
I don't know what F2 does for black.
Well, if you play F2, then you play Oh, you can't because it's a road. Never mind. Ah,
He does set up with the a6.
yep. There's just not a lot you can do.
And white will either jump up to e5 on this next turn for the threat, or place at f5 for the threat.
I just place at f5 here. There's no need to.
Makes sense. Get rid of your reserves, and you're already winning on flats. Just really push
Yeah.
it. And that's probably what he'll do, because that's how Alion plays.
And then you can go for f6 afterwards,
Yeah.
and then just have another vertical threat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's smart.
Brings the wall up.
Black does have a little bit of a thing, potentially.
Yeah,
If black
playing at
gets c.
c4 is a threat for black.
Yeah. White wants c4, basically.
Yeah, if white plays at c4,
Even
then
if.
black's going to want to capture over with b4 probably to keep it alive.
Yep. And then white's cap comes up.
Yep.
But then black fills in at e3.
Does that renew the threat?
No, it brings in the horizontal,
Yeah.
which is a move away.
So it's not over. It's just really
It's not
close to
over,
over.
but it's over.
If white walls at c4, I think it's over.
Yep, that is a threat.
So 13 to 14 in favor of white.
So Alain does still need to be very careful here. Even though I think it is, I think white is obviously winning. I think it is still quite easy to slip up in
Oh, for
these kind
sure.
of flat games. But Alain is on 4 minutes 52 seconds. They've got time.
Yeah,
They
plenty
can
of
be
time.
careful.
He has not run out of all that time like he did in the previous game.
Yeah, okay. And now Ali fills in e3, can make the horizontal in 2 turns. White has 3 flats left.
Mm-hmm.
So well, actually, black can move their cap down, can't they? Create a threat. But then
Do you do d2 left here?
I think you move the cap down.
The cap?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
How many? Which? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So white could still move down without losing any FCD. Is the
Cap does
thing,
come
and
down
I'm
for the
not
threat.
yeah. But then white's cap comes down, then the black horizontal is completely gone. Black could fill in, but I'm not sure it's quick enough
Yeah, white would
at
be
that
able to
point.
place the last 2 flats and take it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
black doesn't have any more positive flat count differential moves.
No. So I think black places e4, white places d4. Black does literally anything because it doesn't matter. Then white places the last flat.
Yep, this is Galit, or a forced flat win. Definitely a strong performance from alion02 in this game. Like we talked
Yeah.
about it in the previous game, where Ali just dominated from the beginning, and in this game, Alion dominated from the beginning. It's really hard to
And
differentiate
this,
between these two players when we talk about them.
yeah, yeah. But this felt like a much more conventional kind of shutout win,
Yeah, it definitely was.
where
This is something that we've seen a lot more of, as opposed to what Ali did in game one, where he just had one horizontal threat for basically the entire game.
I feel like I find myself in these games quite a lot of the time, where, especially in tournament games where people are less likely to be chaotic, where you kind of just you head towards a very edgy flat win, um, and someone wins by 1 or 2 moves, by 1 or 2 like FCD,
Yeah,
but it feels quite clear who's won. Okay, I know white wins.
yeah. I think he needed to do something like 4 or 5 turns ago to get
But
some positive flat differential moves.
yeah, I just don't think he could have. I don't think that was an option.
Probably not. But there you go, 16-14. White wins game two of this, or that was alion02 winning game two of this 2022 TAC Championship Finals match. Now they do have 4 more games to play in this match to determine who takes home the prize of being named the TAC champion. And that will run until 2024 when we have the next championship tournament. So these two guys have a bit to schedule to get these 4 games coming in here. They have split their first 2 games, meaning it's still anyone's game and it's pretty even up. So I believe the following game will be Ali as black again, because we're switching it up. So it's going to be Ali as black and then alion02 as white in game 3. So that'll be exciting when we do finally get to that. But thanks, PlutoTheBrave, for joining me in the commentary box.
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. It's been 2 good, very different, very interesting games. It's been good to watch. Excited to see how the rest of the series turns out, really.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This one I think is going to be really fun. We got 2 players with very different play styles, and we saw 2 very different games here, depending on who was sort of pushing that match. And I think that we're going to see some more very high level games and some interesting stuff from these 2 players. But thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to check out the description below for all things TAC, especially the TAC Discord server, which is where you can find all sorts of TAC resources like strategy guides and people to play with, whether that be on playtac.com or on the Discord itself, playing asynchronously. You can check out all those things there. And thanks again for watching. And until next time, have a great day and happy tacking.